Welcome to GeekView Tavern. On this episode, the guys at the end of the bar, each one an entertainment industry veteran with decades of work under their belts, sit in judgment of the Disney Plus Loki TV show. I'm your host and bartender, Dave Olbrich. Stay tuned as we discuss how Tom Hiddleston and the Loki show measure up to other pop culture icons like Star Wars, or Invincible, or Enola Holmes, or House MD, or Lucifer, or Rick and Morty. And beware, there are serious spoilers ahead. Remember to like the video, share it with friends, and please subscribe. Okay, Skeeter, hit the intro. So who liked Loki the least?
How can we figure that out?
I don't know. Tom raised his hand, so maybe he liked it the least.
All right.
I did because I was the one who advocated strongly for it, and I said I was the most looking forward to it, and I thought it was going to be absolutely great and spectacular because I like Hiddleston.
I like Hiddleston too, and I think he was pretty much Max Hiddleston, but I think the story structure let him down. It's like Paul was saying the other day, and that the video we did about the Hawkeye trailer. It's like they're not making TV; they're making some weird TV that doesn't follow any of the rules.
What were you expecting? What did you want, and what didn't you get?
I don't know. I expected the relationship between him and the Owen Wilson character, the Mobius character, to be more, I don't know, pithy. I guess I don't know.
More pithy?
Yeah. So they're sort of more clever, and it wasn't really clever. It was like a day at the therapist's.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have a negative reaction to it. I think I probably liked it better than I know I liked it better than the first episodes of either of the preceding Disney Plus shows.
Oh, all right. There was a lot that they covered in there, and you better be paying attention because I don't think they're going to go back and cover that stuff much again. I think they're steamrolling forward as fast as they can.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah, they covered a lot of ground in terms of what his history was and where they think they're going, and the new set of rules, given the fact that apparently the time variance authority is more powerful than anything in the MCU we've encountered to date.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to also figure out where my own issues are with the Disney Plus shows so far. I think it's because they're violating one of the things they always did with the movies. In the movies, Feige was always that you could know what was happening in the rest of the MCU, but you didn't have to enjoy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on in Loki for sure.
But you didn't have to know. Right, you didn't have to be a Marvel fan to enjoy it. Even, I mean, arguably, maybe not so much for the last two Avengers films. You kind of had to see at least one of them to understand what the hell was going on. But in these shows, you really have to know a lot of information to have any idea about why any of this stuff is important. So it's really fan service. So I think where I come at it is I'm a fan and I know all the stuff, so I kind of like it. So I'm willing to give them I am one of those Marvel zombies now. I'm willing to give them a pass because I know all about Loki. I find it interesting that the variant isn't the same one, and the variant is on his own path. Even though the transition was really fast from being, world-class asshole to suddenly being a guy who's more aware of his own shortcomings. It happened in about 15 minutes.
Well, I did like the part where he was actually a Loki from an earlier timeline, so a lot of the character development that we all experienced, the character hadn't experienced that we are watching now.
And that's why I think all the juice is with the show. But they kind of threw it out there and kind of got rid of it already, so they can go on to plot stuff. They're not as tight as movies, and they're not as episodic as television. So they're in this weird zone. I think you guys have all kind of talked about that. They're in this weird zone. It's neither fish nor fowl. And I expected Rick and Morty guy to be more about television. I thought it was going to be more episodic. I thought they were going to do a better job at Loki, and I don't think they are. I think it's in that same kind of meandering.
It's not a TV show and it's not a movie, and I don't know what it is, but it definitely has problems. I think they got expectation cut problems coming out their ears, but I think it's got other structural problems that are fundamental to what they're doing.
I'll just talk about Rick and Morty now.
I freaking love Rick and I'm a convert, by the way. Since my wife went on vacation is when I discovered Rick and Morty, and it's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love Rick and Morty. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
The thing I like about Rick and Morty is that they deal with the scientific explanation stuff in rapid fire, so that you don't really have to understand it. They don't really have to lay it out for you. You buy into it right away based on the strength and the speed of this thing is about to eat us or boil us or burn us to death. Here's why we have to get out of here. Here's this thing I've invented that's going to make time loop back on itself. And that's not really us that's going to die. That's the duplicate us. And then you're done. It takes like 4 seconds. And Loki is like, now here's the timeline. Here's how this is going to happen. This is you. This is the alternate you. And this is what happened over here. And this is what happened over there. Now, the way this works is I have a thing in my hand. And it's going to make you go backwards. And you're going to run around and fall down a lot. And I'm going to keep doing it until you behave. It's almost like school. I don't like school. So I guess that's it. My problem with it.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to measure anything else by how rapid fire and the number of weird, kinky, cool ideas that Rick and Morty shoves into a single episode. You really got to be a track star mentally to keep up with Rick and Morty, I think.
But there is, I think you put your finger on something. There's a certain confidence in the storytelling that even if you don't get it, you'll get enough of it, and then it wants you to go back and get it later. Yeah. So I kind of felt that way about Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah,
because they made some really deep cut geek references. It's like, I must be the only person on earth that gets that, right? And that made me feel like I was part of the club, even if I didn't get a lot of the other stuff. And that show wasn't nearly as tight or as funny as Rick and Morty. It had some deadly dull parts to it. Yeah. But they were not concerned about getting all the audience. This is funny. You get it or you don't. Get on board. And enough people did that it's, they're still making it.
Yeah, and they took it on tour.
Yeah.
They literally took Mystery Science Theater 3000, called it Riff Tracks, and took it on tour. They did it live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Astonishing.
I watched a great Rick and Morty episode last night where Rick and Morty are going to exchange gems with these alien villains, and a fight breaks out, and Rick just says, oh, you're right, I did a bad thing, I'm just going to kill myself, and he and Morty jump into a vat of acid.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's not a vat of acid. It's just Mountain Dew, and they sink to the bottom. And then he has this trap door where human bones come up to make it look like they've died, and they're sitting there sucking on an air hose. And then they have this device underwater that allows them to listen to what the mobsters are saying. And the mobsters now feel bad that Rick and Morty took the betrayal so seriously that they had to kill themselves. Oh my God, he not only killed himself, he killed his grandson too. Now I feel bad. And so all 4 of them are sitting around on the ledge overlooking the vat of acid, bemoaning the fate, while Rick and Morty are sitting underwater going, hurry up, come on, we want to get out of the tank of Mountain Dew, hurry up. And it ends. It's like, that's the sort of both the comedy and the speed that I want.
But you don't get that from Loki, that's for sure.
No.
Or from any Marvel show, to be honest. That's not the Marvel thing, right?
Well, I think you could say that Hiddleston sells the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
The casting is still great. I thought the other guy was good too.
Yeah, Hiddleston is tremendously talented, and he has this ability to turn on a dime from being kind of a charmer to someone you actually think might try to break your neck or try to cut your throat.
Yeah, he's got that character in complete control.
And he's developed that over the time that he's had the role, because that's not in the comics. It does not exist.
No.
Loki just twirls his mustache, or he's a snot, and that's the whole range of his expression. And 50,
right, or he's Mephisto, right? I mean, he's all over the place. It never feels consistent at all.
Yeah, but Hiddleston's made him a real charming psychopath.
So here's the problem I have so far with all 3 of the Disney shows is there's only one of them that has stakes, and that's WandaVision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And they kind of trying to be so experimental with that, but they didn't really get that across without just talking about it constantly. But I mean, I get what the stakes are in Invincible.
Yep.
I totally get it. I don't get what the stakes are in Loki. He came back and now he's kind of penitent. Like, what does he want?
Why do we care about the TVA agents that are getting killed in various timelines? There's no reason for us to care about any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a plot with good actors. That's what it is so far. Invincible, the story is really about a dad's relationship to his son, right? That's the core of it. That's what drives it. That's what makes it work, right? I don't know what these movies or these shows are about. It works well enough.
Well, a lot of that's got to do with Hiddleston's performance.
They're good. They're great at casting. They've made these characters larger than life, and we've learned to like them or hate them or whatever over a lot of movies. Right?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of time with these characters, but they're relying on that. So I liked it. I actually thought it was good. I thought so far it's my favorite of the 3 shows, and but it's got everything I like. It's got crazy bureaucracy, Brazil type bureaucracy. I actually thought Owen Wilson was really good. I thought he was funny. I thought he was fine. I liked the relationship between him and Loki. I liked Loki kind of being the bad Loki, the one that said the Joss Whedon Loki with ridiculous dialogue, and then coming in and basically becoming the other Loki, right? And
the cool thing is watching him reveal to the audience that he knows that it's bluster, right?
Yeah.
He knows when he's just blustering. He knows, but he can't let on because that's how he gets stuff done.
But the problem was it was all told to us in a room.
Yeah.
It was therapy, like you said. Instead of it being,
it was way too much therapy. Yeah.
But I don't really know what to anticipate. I'm going to keep watching it because I'm a fanboy at this point. That's why I'm going to keep watching it, not because I think it's great.
2 days after I watched it, I go, oh, you know what? I bet they're setting it up. Like they've got this super powerful organization. They're setting it up to take it down over the process of the season.
Yeah, I think for sure the TVA
I think they're going to the whole season is going to be the destruction of the TVA.
Absolutely, and it's going to be,
and that will release the multiverse of madness that sets up the Doctor Strange movie, right?
That's clearly what's going to happen. They're too powerful right now, and they're too well organized, and they've got it all too much in sync, so it has to go.
Yeah,
they're using Infinity Stones for paperweights, so there's your clue right there.
Yeah. I love that. That part I thought that was fun, right? But again, you have to know what Infinity Stones are. You have to be,
and you have to know the damage they've done and the power they've exerted throughout the Marvel universe.
Yeah, but really, I love the fact that the TVA agent had a cat.
Yeah, well, I like the guy that doesn't know what a fish is. I thought that was great. What's a fish?
That guy was great. And you notice that every time they showed him, his pen was leaking more in his pockets.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah.
So there's good details.
Yeah, there's some intrinsic entertainment here, but in terms of plotting and emotional stakes, you're suggesting that they've moved into Star Wars prequel territory, where the only reason you care about that robot is because it's C-3PO, not because C-3PO himself is something worth caring about.
See, I think those things were fails, complete fails. This is like they've gone from being B pluses to C minuses.
But I have to ask, it's a moment of self-examination. Are they failing just as bad, but you don't notice it because you are a Marvel fan, where you're not really a Star Wars fan? Are we
I'm willing to entertain that possibility because it's not established as a pun. So I think that might be true. But I will say intrinsically the quality of these things and the quality of the casting, the quality of the dialogue, and the execution of the non-story is far better than the prequels.
The execution of the non-story is better than the prequels. There's your pull quote.
Yep, it's true because the prequels, I can't find anything good. Even the art direction, even the CG that was supposed to be the saving grace, even the most mechanical stuff, they didn't do well. So it's a higher level of failure, is what I would say, than the Star Wars ones. Tom.
It's similar. And it's based on my fanboy comic book enthusiasm. And it goes to something that Paul said a long time ago about how Avengers Endgame was basically the end.
Yep.
I remember this feeling reading comic books, that after there was a big Avengers X-Men crossover, or after there was a Kree-Skrull war, or after there was a 7-issue arc with Batman and Manhunter, or Batman and the Joker, the next issue was always like, oh, here's Denny O'Neil and Ernie Chan, and they're gonna do 3 issues of fighting bank robbers until we build up to the next big thing. We've had this big, multi-year saga in the Marvel Universe where everybody's fought everybody, and all the big villains have come out, and all the big heroes have come out, and now we still gotta make stuff. So now these are basically the fill-in issues. These are not the big, massive scaled events that build on top of one another and build to a massive conclusion where Galactus shows up or Thanos shows up.
You don't know quite what to think or what to do.
But again, television, right? It's the same.
Well, if they were doing actual TV, they'd have a solution for this problem. But they're not doing TV.
Somehow it manages to be the same but different every episode, and from season to season. Dr. House hasn't changed that much, but it sure feels fresh. It's like a new doctor in the room, and they got a disease, and it's not lupus. I'm in, right?
It's not lupus.
It's no different, but it still has some sense of velocity to it.
Yes.
I think they just haven't figured it out. I think the filler issue idea is a really good one. I mean, I think that's a good metaphor for where they're at right now. Is that these things are supposed to be like the meringue or whatever between movies. That's how they set it up. That's what I think. That's the way Feige was thinking about them. It's episodic. Forget about like whether it's TV or not TV. You can do TV like a sitcom, that works. You can do TV like House, that works. You can do TV like Breaking Bad, and that works, or The Wire, and that works.
Right. But they're not doing any of those things.
No, they're trying another thing, which is movie production values and stars and longer stories. I guess. I don't understand the execution strategy that they have for these stories.
Unless I missed something, this first episode of Loki, it didn't introduce a huge big bad villain. It didn't introduce a giant problem, really.
You're right. There's no cliffhanger on any of them. They tried. They kind of did, but they didn't. Or why I'm satisfied with where they are. It's an unsatisfying cliffhanger is what they keep leaving us in these shows.
The best cliffhanger was WandaVision with Evan Peters showing up at the door and saying, "Hi, sister, I'm back."
That one and maybe Agatha all along. I thought that still was the most daring of the three. I thought the worst one was the Winter Soldier because I didn't care after a while.
I love Anthony Mackie, and I think he has great screen presence, and he's very charming, very good.
It's not the actor's fault.
No, I don't think so.
But I have faith in Hiddleston, and if anybody can elevate the material, if they really let him be the full Hiddleston, it's him.
The ratings for the first one was higher than any of the others so far. So
people love
it shows how much people love Loki. Yeah,
and they love the character. They love the mischievous guy. But so far, he hasn't exhibited any mischievous aspects. They've talked about it. I thought when the last Thor movie, when Thor is telling the story about why he likes snakes or what Loki did to him, that was funny. That sounded like a mischievous Loki kind of thing to do. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
A good example of a Loki type character is the Lucifer guy, Tom Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That guy is 100% a Loki Lucifer character in every minute of that show.
Talk about a guy who's defined a character so wonderfully and specifically and be able to do a range. Tom Ellis's creation of Lucifer is really astonishingly good. And the fact Netflix keeps renewing it, God bless him.
For me, Loki is Wile E. Coyote, right? He's a guy that keeps doing something and he sets himself up to succeed for a while and then fail. He always overstretches. He always does too much. He always talks too much. And that's what makes him entertaining. He's a totally entertaining character, right?
Yeah.
And you also, at some level, he does have a heart, even though he gouges people's eyes out. I mean, it's really interesting, right?
It is.
He does.
Yeah, you're right. It's
thing.
Done right. He's a fascinating character. Hiddleston makes it better.
You take Hiddleston out, I don't think it's Loki anymore. You put somebody else. I can't think of another actor you could put in there and get the same effect.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want mopey Loki for 2 more episodes. I need Loki to be some element of Lokiness, like right now, like Wednesday.
But that I think you guys have put your finger on it. That's the problem. He instigates. They bring him low, which is what they needed to do. He came back, but he didn't come back very, very well, frankly. He didn't come up with a clever plan. He didn't come up with a Loki plan. He stole something from somebody's pocket, right?
The way the first episode should have ended, if it followed a regular TV thing, is they should have introduced the problem, and then Loki would have said, "Okay, let's go pick these guys up," and then you would have seen the sparkle in Loki's eye, and you would realize, okay.
That's the moment you want. You want the game as a foot moment, and it didn't happen.
That's what you want. It's like Enola Holmes when they waste almost no time.
Are you honest to God making an Enola Holmes reference?
Yes.
All right. Just saying.
It's Holmes to Holmes.
They did another thing that didn't work. I was watching my daughter. She and I watched Invincible 1, and I wanted to see if she would like it, right? And I said, there'll be a twist here. And she just her eyes were like, now she's hooked. She's totally into the show because of that hook. And I think that with Loki, the villain in the series, first of all, you didn't know who the villain was. And then, they did all sorts of things. Like, for example, in Invincible, there is no blood, if you guys notice, at all in the series, all the way up until that point.
Right.
Until the end. None. It is like a 90s cartoon, even in the aggressive physical scenes. There's no blood whatsoever. And then it switches when they do the end. So it's a giant shock to your system when you watch what the way they pulled that off. So with Loki, they didn't really do that, right? There's no the villain at the end. How does she deal with them? she set fire to some weeds, and that knocked out these guys that were tough enough to kill to make a god completely
Right,
vulnerable.
they were strong enough to use the Infinity Stones for paperweights, and yet they fell to somebody striking a match.
It just didn't work. That wasn't clever, right? It wasn't in keeping with what they've set up.
Yeah.
Those TV agents should be like almost impossible to knock out.
Yeah.
And certainly not by lighting a bunch of weeds on fire.
Yeah.
That should not be even close. Frankly, the four of us could probably have dealt with the weeds being on fire.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Tommy, what were you saying before Chris interrupted you?
I'm sorry, Tom.
Was I still on my Enola Holmes jag?
Yeah.
You were starting in Enola Holmes jag, yeah.
Because it takes basically 15-20 minutes of setup before you understand the world building, and then all of a sudden Enola Holmes' mom has disappeared. She's got to go to the big city and find her big brother, and boom, you're off. It takes no time. You get what's going on in the movie in the first 20 minutes. The problem has been established, the people have been established, and now it's the mystery, and then boom. And so they don't draw this stuff out.
Well, they don't take any time to get to Act 2, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It feels like Loki hasn't gotten out of the first act yet.
They have all the time in the world because we already like the characters, and
It would be better if they conformed to traditional television act structure, which is what, Tom? 5 acts, 7 acts, something like that?
Yeah. An introduction, mini cliffhanger, major cliffhanger, the misdirect, and then the solution.
Yeah.
And that structure that has been imposed on us, it's in our heads. We've been watching TV for 50 years. So it's the Rifleman is structured the same way, even though it's 30 minutes.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
mean, the fact that they're trying to invent something new for television and floundering a little bit is problematic for sure.
do you think we're behaving like the rest of the audience?
No, most of the audience is just showing up and, hey, it's Loki, I like it. I think, and that's fine. We're the nerds that get together on the phone and tear this stuff apart. That's what make it for us.
I think
There's
I
no
don't-
salvation for us.
That's right.
I don't see the guys in college getting together and ripping this thing apart. I think it's more like Loki.
The sad thing is, I don't matter to them because I'm going to watch it anyway. I'm the most irrelevant viewer they've got
Oh yeah.
because they don't have to make me that happy. If I'm just like a tenth happy, I'm still going to watch the thing. So
I'm gonna pay their fee early and watch everything from Marvel.
thanks for visiting GeekView Tavern. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified. Come back soon.